What's your reading of the latest development?
Good morning, everybody. Firstly, this peace initiative, the disengagement and the de-escalation, I view as a step in the right direction. Now, the issue you've very clearly brought out is, we have various boundaries or borders existing between countries. You have an international boundary, which is very clearly defined. But in this sector, there are four types of boundaries which most people are not aware of. You have an international boundary, which is in the area of the Karakoram Pass. You have an actual ground position line where the two armies, that is India and Pakistan, are having a standoff in Siachen. You have a line of control, which is between India and Pakistan. And then you have the line of actual control, which is the area which is being referred to some as you're defending the undefined, which is the LAC, which has not clearly been delineated or demarcated. So this is the major issue that you have between both the countries. Now, both countries have their varying perceptions of where this LAC lies. And based on that, there are some areas which are mutually agreed disputed areas and some where patrols move into each other's areas. So we did witness very difficult periods in June this year when a clash took place in Galwan. And if you recall, 2 years ago in 2017, a similar incident happened in Doklam. And there have been such like incidents between India and China, which happened in Somdrongchu in 1986 and in Nathula in 1967. So both countries need to resolve this issue on priority.
Jagatbir, is there a sense of which side drove this disengagement? Because there's a perception out there that India has a bigger price to pay.
Well, a lot of people are saying that India has paid a bigger price as far as the bargaining goes, because people say that we had taken over an area known as the Kailash Hills, and we have vacated that. That is on the south of the Pangong Tso. And in a bargain, the Chinese have disengaged from the north bank of the Pangong Tso. The area of contention was the area of Pangong Tso, the north over there, between PP4 and PP8. Now, both sides, as you rightly pointed out, have agreed not to patrol the area in between these points. So a lot of people say that, yes, you had a bargaining chip with the Kailash, your occupation of Kailash Heights. But do you use that for bargaining only for south bank of the occupation in the south bank of Pangong Tso? Can you use that for south and north bank? Or do you want to expand it further to include the areas which are the other flashpoints, which are in Depsang and in Gogra Heights and Hot Springs? So, this is a point. Should it all have been clubbed together, or should you have done it in phases like it's being done now? But the major issue is that both sides must reach out to resolving tensions. So ideal would have been to have clubbed everything together in Eastern Ladakh and had one, disengagement and de-escalation. But you have chosen to do it in stages. It's a very welcome step, and it builds trust between the two forces. And that is what is important at this stage.
Jagatbir, I want you to just keep your answers a little bit briefer. We haven't got that much time. I just want to get your take here, though, on how far this goes towards bridging this trust deficit between Beijing and Delhi.
Well, it's the first step towards bridging the trust deficit between Beijing and Delhi. The next step will be the disengagement and de-escalation that is carried out in the other identified areas, as I had brought out earlier, that is in Depsang, in Hot Springs and Gogra. And thereafter, the biggest trust deficit will be once you sit down and decide to exchange maps, demarcate the border, carry out delimitation, and then delineation of the border. I think once that is done, right now, we have an unresolved border between two Asian giants.
Tell me, I mean, there is another player in all this, and that's Pakistan, which had agreed a ceasefire now with India on the line of control here. How far will that hold? And tell me, ultimately, how far is China, are China and Pakistan both working in tandem against India?
Well, that's a very interesting question. India's always talked of a two-front escalation, two-front war. Now we are seeing is what is a two-front de-escalation. Both sides are disengaging almost simultaneously, means not disengaging or carrying out de-escalatory measures. So you move down in the escalatory ladder, so to say. As far as Pakistan is concerned, this talk was at a DGMO level talk, which took place on the night of 24th, 25th Feb. This ceasefire started. Now, it's a step in the right direction. You need stabilization in the Southeast Asia. There are factors which led to this step by Pakistan. One is, of course, their economic situation. Then is the pandemic. Then is the area of the FATF and the support from the OIC, Saudi Arabia. Plus, they're having problems in Balochistan. But yes, it has not happened without, as far as I see it, without Chinese knowledge about it, Chinese support. Now, whether China has pushed them to do this, in the overall interest of China, this is a good thing. And you're also well aware that 2021, right. July 2021 is the 100 years of the Communist Party. Do they want a volatile borders in their midst, or do they want peace and stability? I think it's a very important message which a lot of people are not getting.
Jagatbir, India is the largest democracy in the world, yet it's been really quiet when it comes to its response to Myanmar. Why do you think that is so? Is it concern about China's influence?
I don't think that is the reason. India has always supported democratic values. India has always stood for democracy and always stood for secularism. At the same time, they support anything which is happening internally in a country. But yes, we are not people who will just, we are not imposing restrictions at the moment. I don't think that has happened. We are carrying out people-to-people ties with the Myanmar. The Myanmar army has been in control of Myanmar earlier also. So I think India is following a very cautious policy. India has its own relations with its neighbor, and it's not influenced overly by the Chinese relations with their neighbor.